This is my Q&A about my natural birth and delivery, and I'm going to answer a couple questions, and it'll be in two parts, part one and part two. So I'm going to go ahead and start with part one. So the first question is it necessary to have a doula? In my opinion, I would say most often yes. I don't think it's for every single laboring mother. It's 100% necessary in every circumstance. I think if your husband or your partner with your labor is especially birthy and really enjoys labor and birth and the idea of coaching, I think it can be okay to not have a doula, but you would definitely have to have someone that is your support. A doula can definitely increase your chances of successfully having a natural birth. Statistics show that I think you're 80% more likely to achieve a natural birth when you actually use a doula. So reading that, I would tend to say err on the side of having more support than less support, especially for first-time moms who are experiencing labor for the first time, maybe don't know what to expect and don't really know what they want. Once you have a baby, I think you kind of have a better idea of how your labors are going to go and kind of what you want in labor. So I would say look into it. I know doulas are expensive, but you can find them usually for a lesser price depending on how experienced they are. My doula was very experienced in birth and labor. She had 4 of her own natural births, but she had just gotten certified, so was only charging I think $150 compared to like $500. So definitely look into it, or even talk to some of the friends you have. I know that I have some friends, I'm sure, who would love to be a doula for me next time around if they could be. So you don't have to even have like a certified doula. It could be someone that would be a great doula and knows a lot about labor. I could support you. The next question is, do I stay home during early labor or do I go to the hospital the moment labor starts? And this is 100% stay home. Your chances of achieving a natural birth when going to the hospital too early, I would say, are very, very low, just because when you get there, you are under their rules at that point, and the rules being, you can't eat, you can't really drink a lot. I mean, yeah, you can kind of sip on water, but you're not going to be chugging tons of fluid, especially though the eating thing. That's really hard because you have no idea how long labor is going to be. It could be even a couple days, and usually hospitals are not going to let you labor that long. They have beds to fill, and so I would pretty much guarantee if you're laboring more than like a full day there, they're going to start pushing Pitocin. And so my advice to moms is just to stay home as long as you can, and that's why having a doula is awesome. They can kind of help you decide, okay, now it's time to go to the hospital. But when to go, I would say usually would be more like if you can no longer talk like this and speak, if you cannot hold a conversation, and if, even in between contractions, if you're starting to get at the point where like your head is somewhere else, you can no longer actively converse with somebody, that's when you're probably hitting late active labor, even transition. There's a whole bunch. I could even post some charts that I looked at to kind of help my husband understand what it would look like when I was kind of time to go to the hospital. And my mother was a nurse, so she was really good at read my body language, and she kind of knew, okay, you're getting to be really far along and you're probably a 6. And sure enough, I was a 6 when I got to the hospital. So thankful I did, because once you hit like a 6 or 7, usually labor goes a lot faster. And so even if you get to the hospital, you're kind of on the down end of the train. If you go too early, it's kind of an uphill battle. Also because girls are proven to dilate quicker when they're at their house, just because they're more comfortable and, in their home environment. So next question would be, why did I choose to go natural? I chose to go natural for a million reasons, and I could be a whole other video on its own. I probably will do a video on that actually. But the biggest reason was just I really felt personally convicted. I read a lot of information, a lot of books, a lot of articles, and just started to learn the dangerous side effects of drugs and epidurals for the mom and baby during labor. And I guess I was, part of society. I was part of the crowd that had this fear of childbirth. Like, there's no way moms can do it without drugs. Like, why would you ever do that? That's crazy. It's like a horror movie watching a birth, And I just started to realize after watching documentaries and then reading Anna May Gaskin's book and then my favorite book also is The Bradley Method, Husband Coach Childbirth. It's really good. Read those and just realized that birth is a beautiful thing. It's a natural process and your body knows what to do and it's not going to fail you. And I just remember feeling like, okay, maybe I can do this. And I didn't also realize how the cesarean rates with epidurals are very much connected, and it's not to scare you. I mean, if you want epidural, then that's your personal choice. But there are side effects and there are risks. And I just liked the idea of being really present and being very aware of what's going on. I read a lot about how pushing is much easier when you can feel everything, just because you know where to push. Your body's telling you when to push. It's not that typical count to 10, hold your breath. They're telling you when to push and how to push. It's just a more of an interactive process. And I also like the idea of my husband and I being really interactive together. Like, there was no way in heck he would be on his phone the whole time. He was so actively participating in my birth just because it was so intense. Breastfeeding was another thing. I read about how babies are typically better breastfeeders and latch better just because they're more awake and they're more aware post-birth, as well as how intense the endorphins are and oxytocin that's released in the brain once you achieve a natural birth, and then that instantaneous relief of pain, the surge of the happy hormones in your brain that is in the breast milk and goes to the baby. And it's proven to also have decreased chance of postpartum depression and post-baby blues for the mom. So those are just some of the reasons why I chose it. I'm probably going to do a video just on that very question because it's just so many things. The next question, actually I'm going to go ahead and cut this off and do part 2 because it's going to get too long. Stay tuned.